Well, good morning. Hello, Calgary. And everyone else that can see me. I don't know if you can see me. Trust that you can. So the only real announcement that I know of is coldest night of the year. I know you guys are just excited about this. You're budding. You're like, you just can't wait to talk about it, tell your friends, right? Yeah, I love the excitement. This is all four cities, so I want to hear some cheer and chatter from you guys as well. It's February 23rd, so we're kind of running out of time here. You need to sign up. You need to, promise, commit that you're going to walk with someone else, give money, lots of money. We're not even near our goal, so I'm off my script. Sorry, Amanda. February 23rd, all four cities. Still need lots of volunteers. Sign up at cnoy.org to volunteer or start a team or walk. Any of that good stuff. Okay, enough of that. So Bill's not here today, which is why I'm the stand-in, the much more beautiful stand-in. Wow, thanks for the overwhelming laughter. God bless you too. See if I pray for you when you come in my office now. But I'm just here to introduce someone who truly needs absolutely no introduction, so I won't bore you with one. Our very own Drew is speaking today.
Thank you very much, everybody. We did that last time. I'll do that every time I speak. Like a true motivational moment here, everybody. So this is my annual Faith Connect. It's not really in the books that way. It just so happens I speak usually in the spring every year. So thanks for having me. Thanks for Dean and the gang for not booking someone so that I could do this last minute. I have a few disclaimers before I start. First disclaimer, I must apologize to Bill because he said, make sure you prep, make sure you keep it devotional. And neither of those things will probably happen. Because I definitely did not prep for this. Side note, some of you may know, I like spontaneity, so I like not prepping for things like this just to see what happens. Let's just see what happens. Another part of that is I want to keep this devotional and reflective. So the topic in which I'm speaking about today is something that's very dear to my heart, and it has a profound effect on why I work at the Mustard Seed and why I choose to be here and to, maintain my job now up to almost 5 years. And so to me, it's super important, and I hope that I will impart some of my passion to you guys. And I truly hope that by the end of our time today, even though it is short, that you will reflect on what I'm saying and maybe become a champion of these philosophies the same way I have. So, keep yourselves open. Maybe you'll have an aha moment, a come to Jesus moment today. And that will ultimately define your life career path for the next 20, 30, 40 years. Who knows? I don't even know if it's doing that for me, but we'll find out, right? So yeah, I hope that you guys can challenge yourself and maybe change yourself. A fun thing I want to talk about before I get into it, this is totally unrelated to everything. If you guys remember, I came up and shared a story about Christmas. There's another story I really want to share with you guys that was so profound. This is like a workplace thing that I just want to throw in here just before we get going because it's pretty fun. You guys know Tim. He's one of our residents who volunteers and worked last year seasonally and has been a part of our fishing crew and do all that. So Tim was not working this year due to his age situation and not wanting to make the extra money, then have to pay it back throughout the year if that was a situation he ran into. So, you know, all the power to it. It's like, Tim, what do you want to do, man? You want to help out? He's like, I'll volunteer, man. It's like, sweet. And he kept coming back to me. I want to help. I want to help. I'm like, hey, at one point, I'm like, how bad do you really want to help? He's like, I'll do anything. I'm like, get on the internet. We need shelves. Phone up any like warehousing group or whatever that would regularly rent out shelves, drop the Mustard name, see if we can get that stuff for free. And they gave him the dates. Comes back a day later, Calgary warehouse equipment. Tim had spoke to them and got the shelves for free, you guys. It was awesome. I'm like, and that's one story of our residents who kind of help out and do that throughout the year. I want to give a shout out to Ken, Tony, Marv, some of our residents that are here today. Thanks for coming, guys. Shout outs to all you for showing up. It's a great turnout today. Fantastic. Who knew? So really quickly, before I get into the crux of what I'm talking about, I want to briefly tell you guys, who am I? There's a lot of new staff in the room. I only do this once a year. I am your friendly neighborhood volunteer manager here at the Mustard Seed. I've had this job since early 2014. Previous to that, I started here at the Mustard Seed in about 2010, late 2010, volunteering, got a job in 2011 with donor relations as the seasonal employee. And then Cliff and the gang immediately hired me after that as an employment coach. I think I was the 4th or 5th hire of the initial employment team, which now Alex and everyone is a part of. Did that for about a year and a bit, and then I was sniped by another company to do marketing and business development, which was right out of my scope. But the owner of that company really took time to invest in me and show me the ropes, so to speak, and that was a profound experience. And then after deciding that wasn't the right thing for me to be doing, I came back to the Mustard Seed in this role. So that's a brief history of who I am. Previous to that, my whole life revolved around a little bit of school. I did finish a degree, but it was kind of all over the place. Touring with a band, playing music at a church. My life was essentially music, girls, partying, God, all of that. Getting tattooed. The school figured out a way to take my RESP and refund it back to me so I could have tons of money to get tattoos. That was awesome. Sorry, Mom and Dad. And yeah, anyways, there's all that kind of stuff happened, right? So do as I say, not as I do, basically, except for today. What I'm bringing you guys today should be really cool. So before we get into it, I love to create a little bit of crowd participation, okay? Pick someone beside you, like just pair up as you are, and it looks like we've got pretty even numbers all the way around. Marv, you can go with Leo back there. And go to the person beside you, and we're gonna hit that music again real quick, maybe for like 45 seconds, and just quieter so people can talk. But I want you to discuss with the person beside you, what is one reason you would stay indefinitely at the Mustard Seed? So it could be a reason why you really love your job. It could be client related, it could be whatever. But I'm not talking what do you love about your job now. Why would you stay? What is a reason you could be here forever? Or in an organization like the Mustard Seed. So let's hit that music, guys. Take 45 seconds, go for it. All right, let's bring it in. Edmonton and Shelter and Red Deer and everyone. The crowd now here in Calgary. Who wants to just quickly shout it out? Like put your hand up, I'll call you out, and give the reason your partner said. David. Whatever. So David said he sees God doing amazing things, and if he keeps seeing that, he'll be here forever. Anyone else got one? Either themselves or their partner. Annie. Opportunities for growth. Cool. Ruth's got one. The what, sorry? Ruth loves a sense of community. That might keep her here forever or in this type of organization. Kelsey, you like to talk. You're a public speaker. What you got, girl? You got one? No, she's leaving. She's like, I'm out of here, guys. Sorry, Steve. Just kidding. Who else? Kathy. Nice. Fantastic. Kathy said, having worked for profit for a while, it's nice to be in the not-for-profit flow. I appreciate that. Let's do one more. Anyone else? Anyone else? In the back. Aaron. Cool. So she said helping clients in real time, having like immediate maybe solutions or at least immediate responses. Solutions not always there, but I hear you, girl. All right. Fantastic. So all of you heard reasons why potentially someone could stay in this industry or stay at the Must Seat forever. And so what I'm talking about today, my main topic is voluntary simplicity. And it's the same thing I talk about every time. So a year from now, I'm going to talk about this again. Just, you know, why not? I'm going to drive this home. So to me, what is voluntary simplicity? To me, it started to take the shape when I was in college. So I was attending 3 colleges, and when I finished my degree, I was between 2. And at the one, it was actually in Manitoba, and it was Providence University. And they had this kind of seminar one weekend where voluntary simplicity is what everyone was talking about. And guys, this is like a rural school. It's probably maybe 500 people. It's off in the middle of nowhere. It's beautiful. And people are there for these reasons, to have like a reflective, it's almost like a, what's the word? I can't, but there's a sense of peace when you're there, and they study it's like a liberal arts school. So, you know, anyways, the moral of the story was they had this thing and it fired everyone up. Everyone was literally at arms with the idea of voluntary simplicity. It was weird, the reaction of people are like, I don't want to simplify, I shouldn't have to do that, what I've made is for me, and da-da-da-da. And yeah, there's a lot of young people in the room. There are a lot of old people too. Some of the teachers had a profound reaction, and at one point they brought up this book. It's called Voluntary Simplicity, and I've shared this book with some of our staff. I've read it to different iterations of my own team. I read it myself every 2 or 3 years. I gave it to Steve. John, I don't know if I gave it to you or not, but I try to, people in my life that seem to have this flow, I like to share this book with them. So it's by Dwayne Elgin. You can get it off of Amazon for like $2 used usually, and it's called Voluntary Simplicity. I highly encourage you guys to check it out. YouTube or Google Dwayne Elgin as well. His story is pretty profound, and the stuff he's done outside of voluntary simplicity, little on the hippie side, but like really awesome. And so the main purpose of voluntary simplicity is that when you have something, when you have it, you understand and you decide to simplify. So there's a key verse that comes up in the Bible over and over and over, and to me, not a verse, but a theme. And it's simplified on the Sermon on the Mount, Matthew 6:33, when Jesus said, seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all these things will be added unto you. And I'm going to come back to that in a little bit, because I want to break that down, what that means to me personally, outside of like a philosophy of simplicity, and how that has affected my life. And I've seen potentially God, I guess it's God at work in my life regarding that scripture. But that key element where Jesus, being a total Sermon on the Mount hippie, right? Like living with the disciples, just not doing the societal norms at all. He drops that bomb and he's like, you should just care about God and serving others first, and then everything will be added to you. And there's something to be said about that, but there's also something to be said to me that correlates highly with voluntary simplicity. So I'm going to give you guys 2 different examples. There's 2 people riding their bike to work, okay? The first person is disgruntled. Let's say it's 7:30 in the morning. He's trying to get to work for 8 or 8:30, let's say. And let's say he's ripping down Memorial to get down the path to get downtown to the core. And he's disgruntled, he's angry, he doesn't want to be there. He's watching all the cars go by, and he's like, man, if I just had a car, if I just had a car. And age doesn't really matter. This dude could be any age, doesn't matter. And he's ripped that he doesn't have a car, and he wishes he could just get to work quicker. He doesn't want to be sweating when he gets to work. He has to pack a change of clothes in his backpack. This is just frustrating to him. It's taking like an extra hour off his day, half an hour in, half an hour out. He doesn't like that. Maybe he wants to go to the gym afterwards. He's too tired because he's been biking all day. Maybe he justifies the workout that way, but it's not enough. Beside him, another guy is riding, and he has a car. He prefers to ride his bike in the morning. He enjoys the half an hour bike ride to work. He enjoys the weather, the sense of fresh air. It is part of his workout regime to actually bike to work and appreciate that. He's happy to park his car at home and have the outdoor experience. He doesn't mind to change. Like, it's a little annoying, but you know, he can kind of tidy up in the bathroom and do all that. And so that's the difference between someone living in simplicity and someone living in poverty. So this isn't like a left-wing anti-capitalist idea. There's this whole idea actually that it's you need to, if you're into politics and want to get up like that. But the idea is that in order to simplify, you actually have to attain first. So Kathy, you gave such a cool example of, man, I've been there in for-profit and it's nice to be in this flow, right? And that argument may or may not correlate with age, hard to say. It may or may not correlate with level of expertise and growth we've had, but it for sure correlates with experiencing something and then consciously dialing back, right? And so here's the fundamental issue with me suggesting you guys could all stay at the mustard seed and seek ye first the kingdom and all these like great ideas. You actually have to broaden your worldview. You have to attain some things first, and to voluntarily simplify, you first attain and then you decide to dial it back. And part of that process is, I believe strongly that in the Western world, we can all simplify a little bit. I'm going to get into the different areas of voluntary simplicity here in a second, just to break it down the concept a little more. But let's just take the idea of like, material possessions. We can all simplify our material possessions. And there are greater ways that we can be involved in the philosophy of voluntary simplicity that are more impactful to our life than just getting rid of material possessions. I'm not telling, like Jesus told the one guy in the story, just leave everything and come follow me, right? Like, that's an extreme example of that, but we don't necessarily need to do that to engage in voluntary simplicity as per Matthew 6:33, and I'll get to that in a few. But the idea is, what that concept really indicates is that once you've attained something, evaluating it, consciously understanding it, and then simplifying, whatever that means for each of your lives. And I'll encourage all of you to do that to a point. And let's go through some of the different areas here. But, I have to cover that first fundamental philosophy. It's not poverty necessarily, guys. And we need to understand and attain, and then we decide to simplify. And in doing that, we are empowering ourselves to change a little bit. And we're looking at what we have, and we're understanding our own selves reflectively, and we can choose that life. So there's a few different ways that voluntary simplicity takes effect. The big one, again, is material possessions, monetarily simplifying, potentially. Things that regard the world around us. People who engage on voluntary simplicity, like in Dwayne's book, he just interviews tons and tons of people. He doesn't really write philosophy about anything until the final chapter. Most of the book is the different topics and the different ideas and how he's interviewed thousands of people. He did that through his magazine. But the idea is that some of the key themes that come out of voluntary simplicity are, I feel like I'm connecting with the earth more. I feel like I'm connecting with myself more. I feel like I'm connecting with God more. I am valuing physical strength and my human body, things like yoga, working out, the awareness and the physical element of who we are, sort of mind, body, spirit, but the body actually comes up a lot for people. I'm valuing the possessions I have and fixing them as opposed to throwing them away and starting new. I'm valuing using everything as much as I can and not just having this like laissez-faire. Even with the relationships, a really sweet thing he talks about for an entire chapter is simplicity in our relationships. Okay, guys, so like conceptually thinking, and put this into your minds and how you relate to our guests. When we break down all the fluff of the world, what's left? Our relationships, right? Seriously, if you stop caring about your car, if you stop caring about the music, if you stop caring about whatever it is, at the end of the day, you're left with the people around you, and we're social creatures. We really are, right? Things like companionship and empathy and compassion and all that are deeply rooted in why we're designed or evolved or whatever. And so at the end of the day, when you start to strip down your life, you start to simplify, it leaves you with the people around you. And what Dwayne actually promotes in his book, and many of the people that write him, they say, have soft eyes. I'm really, really bad at this. I'm an extremely critical person, if those of you who know me, almost to the point of judgment sometimes, and I try not to be that way. But, one of the things is having a simple look at people and just simply understanding them, simply going into the relationship like, I'm not going to hold these preconceived ideas about who I think you are. I'm going to look at you softly, and I'm going to try to like look into you and just understand the essence of who you are. My father-in-law has this really fun quote. He's one of the chaplains at the Children's Hospital. David and these guys, Kevin, all know him. Actually, and I believe that Chris in Edmonton knows Phil pretty well, and they're doing an internship actually, because he does all the chaplain placements. They're placing people in Edmonton this year, which is really fun. But he always says, talk about people from the inside out. That's a very simplistic idea, right? From the inside out, that would be an emotional statement. It would be, this person's kind, they're compassionate, they're caring. They seem to know about this or that, right? So that's one of the concepts of voluntary simplicity that I really appreciate, and it has such a link to the work that we do. It's a profound example of when we start to realize, hey man, I've had all this stuff. That stuff didn't matter. I'm coming to work at a place like at the Mustard Seed or whatever that's in the not-for-profit flow that we're a forgiving organization, right? The way I would explain our work sometimes is it's okay to make a mistake, right? And mistakes are going to happen no matter what. I always have the saying, it's not if the worst case scenario happens, it's when. And that's really usually in regards to our clients and the type of work we do and the type of hardships we're going to encounter when we're at work. And for that reason, we're very forgiving. We have the opportunity to, someone make a bad call and someone's like, hey, work a mistake or whatever. Like, I understand, I did that myself, but it's not costing our stakeholders thousands of dollars. We're not burning resources necessarily in regards to like a product that went missing forever or that was misused, right? Like in the not-for-profit world, we're forgiving of each other. We have the moment to look at our clients, look at our staff, and look at ourselves compassionately. I truly believe that. And to me, that's a profound example of voluntary simplicity. And that's, so here, going back to my initial statement where I talked about being at college and watching this all go down, I'm like, holy Moses, learning everything and beyond this, like this is a 20-minute conversation we're gonna have, but knowing there were profound examples in that classroom setting, if you will, or whatever, like room, theater room, I was evaluating, like, how can I implement this into my life? And I like to challenge systems. I'm kind of a punk, those of you that know me. And so we, like, just blatantly challenging the system every once in a while, believe it or not, even though I don't really do that as much at work. But so to me, it was like, yeah, this is such a profound way to look at what the Western world is doing. And if you're angry about, like, the way sometimes the capitalistic thing happens, or whatever your ideology is, I don't care. Voluntary simplicity really is a solution to that. And it's been a call to the Western world probably for the last 50 years to realize, hey, we need to simplify people. We need to really address what's happening, if only for the planet, then and beyond that for society in general and the stability in that. So, and I don't want to get into the greater effects of why it's just really that important to simplify in the West. There's, overpopulation, there could be global warming, there could be all that stuff, depending on what sources you're reading. But the idea is, when I saw that happening and I learned about this concept, I'm like, that's something I want to do, but not misunderstanding it and not deciding I need to attain first. And that was part of my journey in life. Part of my own personal journey was, Drew, let's push the envelope as far as we can. And so when I worked at the last company I did before, in between my 2 jobs here, I realized I have this in me. It was almost like a testing ground. How far can I really go? What's my capacity? And once I've identified that, and maybe that was wrong, maybe I'm not all that, and whatever, but coming back here and learning about this job and coming into the volunteer manager job, that seemed to be a great fit. Does it mean I'm going to be here forever? Not necessarily, right? Like, I tell all my staff, work until someone snipes you, basically. We meet so many people in our team, like volunteers, other organizations. That's how Bobby left. It's partly how Ashley left. And so we make enough connections that eventually we'll move on in a good way. But for me, I've been here for almost 5 years and it just makes sense. And this is the guiding principle, guys, guiding philosophy as to why I'm truly here. So I want you guys to think about that. And again, Matthew 6:33, seek ye first the kingdom of God and everything will be added unto you. To me, I've been looking at the world through a lens of human connectivity for probably the last 5 years. And I've been redesigning my worldview because it seems like the older I get, all the coincidences, all of the interactions I have, hardships within family and the trickle-down effect through members that aren't even around each other, things that happen to our guests, the way God works here, all that. There is a level of non-physical connectivity that we all share. It's weird. I can't explain it. You could explain it as God, the Holy Spirit, whatever. I think and that is a simple concept if that is as he is in us profoundly from a foundational kind of idea of who we are as beings, being in the image of God and all that. But if you're not a believer in that, and that's too heebie-jeebie for you or too extra spiritual or whatever, I think it's simpler than that. I think we're connected emotionally. I think there's certain levels of non-physical connectivity that we share. And I see this happen all the time. So seek ye first the kingdom. What does that mean to me? Seek ye first the benefit of the people around you. Boom. Everyone I've talked to here or out of here who are either loving their job or hating it have usually one thing in common. They care about the people around them before they care about themselves. That is this verse, in my opinion. And it's simply having the intention. What is prayer, guys? Prayer is a group of people coming together with an intention on someone else's behalf. And if I intend to go home today I intend to go to Wild Rose Brewery and play a show after work. That's exactly what I'm doing. I will get there. That's my intention. So if I'm coming together and a group of us are coming together to intend something on someone else's behalf, is it so crazy or profound that it happens? No, that intention is a real thing. And I felt that in my own life. It's like the intention of others influencing when I didn't even know it was happening. And I think that's the power of God, and I think that's the power of prayer and the non-physical human connectivity that we all share. I have lists, guys, I've written down like being like every time I've done a news thing for the Mustard Seed where I'm intending on behalf of our population and representing the Mustard Seed, the craziest musical, personal, whatever opportunities fall on my lap. Like literally emails come flooding in. It's the weirdest thing. And you know, that's a pretty vain example. There are other more profound examples where as I intend on behalf of others and kind of put myself to the side. And I'm really bad at this, guys. It's like I care about myself more than anyone else usually, so don't get me wrong. But the idea is that the profound examples of when God kind of represents and adds to my life when I simply intend. And I think that's the aroma that we all share at work. That's that intoxicating element of like you walk in with a client or you see the room happening or we share something at a developmental event or Steve is speaking or something's happening and that's the moment that we all share. And I think it has a profound effect on our own lives and it's creating pathways for us to succeed outside of simply getting a paycheck and going home, paying rent and living life. So I know that was a lot of rambling. That's simply because I'm very ill prepared for this and I like to keep it that way. So reflect on those ideas, guys. Does it make sense? Is what Drew's saying really stupid? Is it too extra spiritual? What is it to you? What does it mean to you to be, you're here, guys. Whether you want to be or not, you're living in simplicity. You're probably getting paid a little less than a counterpart in the for-profit. You're probably having to change the way you spend, if that's the case. You might have to go get a second job. You might have to do all these different things. Just even economically, we are simplicity. In our work with our clients, it's engaging around compassion and the more simplistic ways of life. You know, so I would say instead of not realizing it, identify it. And then once you've identified it, don't shy away from it. Be like, oh, that's not cool. Learn the sweetness of this lifestyle. And it doesn't have to be here. Steve and Margaret didn't put me up to do this. Go anywhere, but be in simplicity and reflect on what that means in the current landscape of our economy in the Western world as well, right? And this isn't like a capitalist bashing situation. I'm conservative to the core. This is just a responsible way to live life, I think. So in true musician fashion, I'm going to sing a song for you guys. This is like an ode to Rick, not the song itself, but Rick, our old chaplain. He used to sing every time he did Faith Connect. And I used to sing a lot here, and that's why I started volunteering with singing. Still do it for the guests every once in a while. So I'm going to just sing a song for you guys. You know, I wasn't going to do this. I wasn't going to do this because it's a little awkward. But I brought it up with my team, and they were like, yeah, you should just do it, Drew. Whatever, it's hokey and weird. So I write worship songs still. I write a lot of secular stuff, and I have a band. We gig all the time. But I still write the worship stuff because to me it's a nice reflective process, and it just naturally comes out. I don't know. So every once in a while I'll write a song and hold on to it. And I used to be a worship leader legitimately for 4 years in Winnipeg. So this is kind of in me. I've had songs published, not worship music, but so I think I'm okay at writing a song. You guys decide. If my voice cracks, it's because it's 10 in the morning and I've been drinking coffee and I'm nervous, okay? So the song goes like this. Hope you guys like it. Hopefully you guys can hear over there. And you are the king of my pain and my sorrow. You are the Lord of my disbelief. You step down and meet me in my lonesome darkness. Pull me up when the water's too deep. I come running to you, Lord. You take me just as I am. And I come leaning on your love. I come leaning on your love, oh, to love again. When the pain is rising up in me, you take me right as I am. And I come leaning on your love. I come leaning on your love, oh, to love again. And you are the king of my pain and my sorrow. You are the Lord of my disbelief. You step down and meet me in my lonesome darkness. Pull me up when the water's too deep. And I come wishing it was different, but you take me just as I am. And And I come leaning on your love. I come leaning on your love, oh, to love again. I feel powerless and small, but I trust you, the great I am. And I come leaning on your love. I come leaning on your love, oh, to love again. And you are the king of my pain and my sorrow. You are the Lord of my disbelief. You step down and meet me in my lonesome darkness. Pull me up when the water's too deep. And you are the king of my pain and my sorrow. You are the Lord of my disbelief. You step down and meet me in my lonesome darkness. Pull me up when the water's too deep. Well, the water's too deep. Ooh, Lord, the water's too deep. Ooh, yeah, the water's too deep. Pull me up, the water's too deep. You are the king of my pain and my sorrow. You are the Lord of my disbelief. You step down and meet me in my lonesome darkness. Hold me up when the water's too deep. Thank you very much, guys. You are dismissed. Go back to your desks and think about voluntary simplicity. All right.